Welcome, Leilani. Thank you so much. This is exactly 1 year ago where we met for our first session in which we talk about similar topic, goal setting, your process, your vision board, how you're planning the long-term goal and how you're planning on a daily-to-day basis. Leilani worked at Advent Health as a Director of PMO office. She managed all our IT project, she and her team. And sadly, she's leaving us to join another company, but we are also excited that she's starting her new endeavor. So with that, Leilani, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here again too and share an update and talk about the journey and both professionally, personally, where I'm at. And just like you said, it's bittersweet for me as I conclude my journey with Advent Health. But I take with me a lot of knowledge and learnings from the team that I'll definitely use in my next chapter in my life that will continue to further my growth and my development.
Awesome. Congratulations. I'm sure our path will cross again. Regarding the last podcast where we talk about goal setting, we talk about how you plan. One of the things that you mentioned is your FIRE system, where you want to fire yourself in 10 years. So how are you doing with progress and that big goals that you have?
Absolutely. First off, for those that aren't familiar with what firing yourself means, it's definitely a positive activity or goal. It means financial independence, retire early. And what that means is you want to position yourself financially so that you can do whatever it is you want to do with your life. Whether that means you want to continue in the role that you serve in a particular company or organization, or if you want to branch out and do your own thing, or if you just simply want to enjoy time pursuing hobbies and being with the family. I do feel like I'm progressing really well in that path. I know there's a lot of discussion online and social media around inflation and things getting more expensive and costing more. So for me and my family, we want to spend, we minimize our expenses, things are paid off, the house is paid off. And so we are in a really good place. That said, honestly, I'm not quite there yet. I still need to pursue a day job to continue that goal. But I do feel that we've established, my family and I have established a really great foundation in terms of our debt ratio. Don't have any debt, and we're on a path so that at some point I can pursue a different endeavor that'll allow me to be more autonomous and I can fire myself.
You said you don't have any debt.
No, all our cars paid off. College education for our son is paid off. The house is paid off. We have a credit card, but we use that simply just to, make purchases and pay that off and every statement. We contribute to our own retirement plans to the maximum of our ability. So yeah, we're from a debt perspective, we are actually really good, proud of ourselves.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
We also believe in that philosophy and we minimize whatever we can minimize. So we have paid off for our house and the rental, but then we move into this house. So we still have that. But that's one of the things that we try to do is to not have any debt.
Yes, that is so important. If you want to achieve financial independence, there's a concept of having good debt, which is something that you can look at getting some tax savings on, like a house payment and a mortgage. But we try to avoid all debt as much as possible. And in the event that something were to financially impact us, that we could absorb that. So we're in a good shape in case of any emergencies to occur. So and I'm sure you can understand having something paid off like that, it feels really good.
Yes. So moving into your big goal, thinking about long-term goal, you have this FIRE goal and plus some other aspiration around joy, around your side passion, around other things. So how do you plan and track those long 10 years goals?
Yeah. And it's funny because when you make a goal, I don't want people to think that, okay, I've made this goal and I'm just going to stick with it and it's never going to change. No, the goals change as we try something new, you assimilate new information and evidence of how that goal is progressing. You may realize, okay, I need to tweak it. Maybe I need to pivot a little bit. The big goal is being able to have financial independence. That is the long-term goal. The steps to get there that will take 1 year, maybe 6 months to get there. That is what I constantly evaluate and pivot on. For example, this time last year, I was looking at something, a personal passion project of mine outside of what I do in my daytime career to help funnel more income into that fire goal of mine. Didn't quite work out the way I expected. You know what? That's okay. You've got to fail multiple times before you make that big discovery that you find that thing that actually works for you. Very rarely is anybody going to be able to try something and knock it out of the park the first time. This time last year, I experimented with something on the side, and it taught me a lot, and that I'm grateful for. It taught me about expressing myself. It taught me about communication. It taught me about taking risk and measured risk. And it taught me to understand where my limits are, what I need to balance. And it didn't quite work out the way I expected. And that's okay. And then it made me realize, okay, what else do I enjoy? What else is my passion? What else do I feel like my purpose is out there? And I pivoted. And so now I have a new goal. Still leveraging the learnings that I had from last year, leveraging the learnings I'm picking up now in my communication and how to make myself more visible out there. And so it still supports that long-term fire goal. In fact, I've moved up my fire goal, but I've accelerated the timeline for it. I don't think it's necessarily going to take 10 years. I really do hope it takes less time than that. But again, as I'm tracking towards it, as I'm looking at, hey, how am I doing on an annual basis? How am I doing on a quarterly basis? How am I on the right track? So that's how I try to break up such a very big goal into just measurable steps. And even so much as so going even to a finer detail as looking at a weekly basis or even a daily basis. What is my goal for this week? And then I can even break it down and say, okay, what is my goal today? What can I do today? This one little thing that'll just inch me closer to that goal. Whether it's reading a blog or listening to my favorite audiobook or watching it or really informative YouTube video that relates to my passion project. It's whatever little step I can continue to keep moving forward. I just feel like if I don't do something mental each day, no matter how small it is, that there's that risk of losing momentum. So it's taking very small, measurable steps, but still looking at a year, 5 years, and 10 years down the road.
I did not know about this fire goal that you were spreading this to other people. What does this mean? Can I ask some follow-up questions on that? If you're open to share about it.
Yeah. What does FIRE actually stand for or something like more?
What was your project? You said you was sharing that with other people. You were trying to bring more people to that philosophy. Was it a mentorship that you was giving to other people?
No, not at all. From a FIRE perspective, this is just something I like to share and talk about and get people's ideas. But from my passion project on the side, I was more looking towards getting into more of the e-commerce space, more specifically into 3D printing and creating designs and being able to create designs and creating services. Didn't really quite work out to where I had expected, but I learned a lot about, again, like I said, communication, planning, what is marketable out there, and so on.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So we talk about that your long-term project, and then you have this passion project that you tried last year, and you have another one this year. So these are 1 year duration that you try. You do the learning, and then you apply it to something else. And one of the things that you said that you are applying the learning from the last year passion project to this year. And I always believe, and I share, that our life is like dot projects or puzzle pieces where you work on left-hand side sometime, right-hand side, and then other areas. And then at some point, you see the big picture. And in times we think that whatever we have done 2 years ago, it was all waste. But when you see this big picture, everything makes sense that yes, the time that I spent 2 years ago on doing something unrelated, it does have a place in this big picture.
That is so true. You may think that something that you tried a couple of years ago is completely unrelated to something in the future, but maybe you exercise the creative aspect of your mind in designing something years ago. And then next thing you know, you've evolved, and your role or whatever you decide to pursue in the future requires you to do some kind of graphic design or writing or something that you had learned previously. It leverages, it gives you leverage that. It all builds upon each other. And at some point, perhaps it even reveals that gift and talent that you're meant to give to the world, which is like Lego blocks and pieces. It builds until you see this final masterpiece of a product that you realize this is what you're meant to do. Yeah, that is so true.
I want to stay a few more minutes on this long-term planning, and I will bring some friction characters so that we can have some example to talk about. So my friction character is a web developer, and they go through different life cycle. They start at some point where they are learning and then applying a new job. When they get the first job, from that point to until 2 years or 3 years, they're trying to figure it out and then trying to grow themselves into a senior. And then the life go on. For them, there are at least 50 different things that they have to learn. They cannot do all of them in 1 year, 1 month, right? But there is an anxieties of, I'm in here for 3 years and I need to learn cloud. I need to learn this new AI based technology or machine learning. They cannot do all that. Same apply to any long-term goal where you have this big aspiration, big direction, and then you have to break that into pieces. And then you can only select 1 or maximum 2 or 3 pieces that you can work on. And then you have to wait for 3 months, 6 months, a year to try something else. So with that background, question number 1, you probably have the similar type of anxieties, excitement that you want to do 10 different things. How do you select what is that one thing that you will focus on? And 2 months later, 3 months later, 6 months later, you still discipline yourself that I have picked this and I will focus on this for certain duration.
Yeah, I think there's actually a legit term for this type of people, like multi-passionate type of individuals. I'll tell you, when I was elementary school age, maybe about 11 years old, I wanted to be everything when I grew up. Yes, Mom. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to be an animator. I didn't want to be an astronaut. And they would always joke to me, I was to be everything in the whole world. And when are you going to find time to do all that? I could definitely relate in trying to narrow the focus. It's almost like having ADHD for careers. You speak of being like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to try that. I've certainly lived that gamut. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a fashion designer, designed a lot of clothes, was working to get into a fashion school, went into computer science instead. And then after I got my computer science degree, I actually went to culinary management, and then I studied to be a sommelier. And then I actually got an AA in graphic design. I tried lots of different things, so I can definitely relate to the fictional character wanting to try and do different things, and then they're just spending time mastering something before they try something else. It's, but you're right. At some point, you have to just focus, pick something, and just give it a shot. And I think the challenge is that you're thinking in your mind, what are the opportunity costs of me not picking the other thing? I could have been successful in that other path. Yeah. But at the same time, you could be very successful in this one thing you're trying out now that you're focusing right now. I would be successful in all of them. But you're right. It is important to at least pick one, give it a focus, a concerted effort. That's really what I did last year. Like last year, I developed an interest in 3D printing. I consumed so much information and I learned a whole lot of stuff. And I created some really unique pieces that I was really proud of. And I don't consider it a waste of time. I consider it time well spent. And that's good. And I know that it's something that I continue to leverage in future things I want to try. What do you want to be when you grow up? I'm still trying to figure that out. I know a lot of people are still trying to figure it out too, but you're right. And you have to pick one, give it a shot, time box it. As a developer, if you're working on a Scrum team, you're familiar with time boxing. Tell yourself, hey, I'm going to give this a year. I think a year is a pretty fair enough duration of time to experiment and give it a shot. And determine what your success criteria is, whether it's, I want to get this certification by the end of this 12 months, or I want to complete 2 projects by the end of this quarter or this month. And if you are successful in that, then that gives you a good indication that you're on the right track and to keep going. But if you're seeing that the results aren't what you're expecting, then consider pivoting. It's okay. A lot of people, I don't want to try because I don't want to quit. I don't want to fail. Sometimes you've got to feel different things to find the right one.
Yeah. And so going back to this fictional character, this person has 3 years of experience, want to be a senior, have done something, probably missing some other thing. What would be your suggestion how this person should approach? Now, I am asking you this question as 2 qualities that you have, 2 skills that you have. You're the director of the PMO, is you can break things apart and give steps to anything. And then second, you have been into this position where you have helped other people grow from junior to senior to leaders. So I wanted to ask you as an open question that how would you guide this person?
The first part is, how would I guide that person into figuring out which area to focus on?
Yeah, because between a junior to senior, they probably have things, and then certifications, education, skills, experience, all that.
I think the first question I would ask is, what do they want for themselves? And really trying to understand what do they love? What has meaning to them? And what do they enjoy doing? Because as a developer, there's different facets. You can be a front-end developer, you can be a full-stack developer, you can be a back-end developer, you could write APIs. So there's different aspects to it. I think the first question is to understand what are the underlying motivations, where do they find themselves feeling in the zone? Back when I used to be a full stack developer, I really felt myself in the zone when I was designing front ends and working on UI UX. Didn't as much enjoy writing transact SQL, store procedures, but some people do. So I think it's important to understand what do they enjoy spending their time on. And that would then help me to understand what kind of advice to give them as far as what kind of certifications that they should pursue. So that would be part one. And then I guess the second question is more around where to find that kind of information, or tell me a little bit more so I know how to answer it the best way.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for answering that question. And I will come back to this from a front-end full stack developer to director of PMO. how that happened. So we'll come back to that in a second. So let's say this person required 2 certification, 5 soft skills, and some new programming that this person has to learn. And the first step would be to identify this. So this person has identified the motivation as well, back end, yay. And then he has bunch of, or she has bunch of things, like almost 7, 8, 10 things, cannot do all of them. So the first step would be to align it to a year, 6 months, something that they will have to do.
In that case, I would want to understand, okay, like the same question, what is it they enjoy doing? What aspect of development brings them the most joy that they find themselves in flow? We're going to prioritize that. Trying to prioritize what are the requirements to get them from where they are at today, to where they want to be, point Z in the future, and determine, okay, what are the certifications, what are the classes they need to take, try to identify if they want to be a senior developer, what certifications are needed. And if you're a senior developer, you're going to have some leadership understanding and being able to have some emotional intelligence, and you know how to deal with other people who can be demanding on your time. So I would recommend for them to try and sprinkle in throughout their week, make like a roadmap, a game plan of all the things that they should try to accomplish. If they have a goal that they want to be, they're a junior developer right now, and their goal is to be a senior developer in 5 years, let's go to 3 years. In 3 years, then I would probably tell them, okay, let's take a look at the skills that you need. Maybe there's certain programming languages they need to learn. Maybe they need to also learn certain testing skills and whatnot, and tool skills. So we're talking very specific technologies. Then let's talk about the soft skills they need, just communication and building presentations. But if you're going to be a senior developer, you need to be able to teach people. And then we will make a backlog of all those things that we need to accomplish or should probably try to accomplish. And then we can prioritize that. Treat yourself like a project. Treat yourself like a product and build your own personal product roadmap and say, okay, by the end of this 2-week sprint, this is what I'm going to accomplish. This is the class I'm going to take. This is the mini goals for myself. And then after the end of 2 weeks, let me look back, say, did I do it? What did I learn? Did I like it? Do I need to pivot? And then ask the same question in a month, in a quarter, until you get to that year and see, are you growing at the pace you need to be to hit the 3-year goal of becoming a senior developer?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, work breakdown structure, always, right?
When you lead a PMO team, you work
from a full stack developer to director of PMO. How did that happen? I don't think we talked about that last time.
I don't know. I don't think I did either. It started, again, my whole journey started at Disney, and I wrote back then, it was Visual Basic, and we evolved into .NET and all the just like VB.NET and then C# and what were the other? Silverlight was our front stack that we used. And we were a SQL Server backend database, running Transact SQL, so doing our own data modeling for our database structure. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoy getting into the zone of knowing as a product that we needed to build and being able to solve the challenges and creating something for our internal clients to use. But at some point, I think it was probably around, I did it for about 10 years. And I realized I was struggling and trying to keep up with the latest tools and technology. And my mom actually told me, hey, why don't you go into project management? And she herself was an IT. She was a BA, business analyst for an IT organization. I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm game for that. And she told me about the PMO and the exam, how hard it was. And I was always good for a good, challenge. And so I pursued it. And it took me some time, but I got it on the first try. And if anybody's curious about how does one go about getting the PMP, there's a particular approach to take. I'm happy to share that with anybody. but it is a really good certification. And as soon as my leader saw that I was serious about maybe switching gears a little bit, and when I got the PMP, because it's a really hard certification to acquire, they started handing me projects. I said, okay, let's give it a shot. Why don't you lead this project with another more seasoned, experienced project manager?
Mhm.
And I did really well because I enjoy planning. And that kind of talent and passion of mine, being able to plan for parties, being able to plan for events, that thinking of what if is really handy to have as a project manager. And I did really well. And I did more projects. And eventually they said, hey, we want to try something different. Let's go agile. And they brought in an agile coach, and I really enjoyed the collaborative nature. And it really seemed to suit my personality of being a servant leader and taking care of my team and removing blockers, as opposed to standard project manager, need to do this, delegate work to do that. Where are you? Really to me. So it evolved from developing full stack to project management, traditional project management to, let's try different agile approaches, having more agile mindset. And then responsibility started coming more to me, more leadership opportunities came to me. And I managed a team. And then next thing I know, I'm leading agile teams, and then I'm leading PMOs, and then here I am.
Well, you keep grabbing the opportunity that came to your way.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is to be open to new opportunities and experiences that people offer you, and to listen. You may hear something that piques your interest, for it and see where it takes you.
Speaking about a PMP exam, I did the training, and for 2-3 years, I was not preparing for the exam actually. And then finally I made my mind, just because it was bothering me too much. Like, why I'm not doing this. And then once I made up my mind, I have to uninstall all my social applications to be able to focus. But then I did it. And just 3 months ago, one of my friend, he is a friend from my college. I know him for 25, 30 years now. And he did PMP exam. And the reason for him is we were just talking, and he wanted to do something. And I said, let's do this. And I don't know whether or not this will help you in your career, whether or not you will be able to get a job after this. But by clearing this, you will have a mind shift that you was able to achieve something that is beyond you think you can. And that's exactly what's happening, Leilani, with him.
That is excellent. It's always good to try something and really stretch yourself. It may not be something you may use in the future, but the fact that you go out of your comfort zone, like your friend did, and challenge yourself to achieve something that is actually quite difficult to do. Not many people pass it. Gives you that confidence to keep going forward. So that I completely agree. Push yourself.
Yeah. And what is happening to him? He started learning some of the things that he didn't think about doing a year ago. Now it just, I think it's the confidence that comes from inside, that he can do anything that he wants now, because he was able to do that.
That is so true. Is his goal to become a project manager, or?
He just want to be at a better place where he is right now. So whether it is a combination of a project manager and a DevOps leader, or as a project manager, something.
Yeah. And that kind of certification gives you an appreciation and a perspective. Even if you don't go into that role, perhaps there are people that in that role, what they are trying to do to accomplish their projects and their own. So
right.
That's a good one.
We're going to get deeper into some of the goal setting. So we talk about long-term planning. We talk about how focusing on one thing and it's sticking with that. Your time frame, as you said, about a year, and you decide those goals on your birthday. That's another philosophy that you have. So once you decide a goal, a big goal, you also talk about breaking that and tracking. So let's get deeper into that. How exactly you divide your big goal into steps, work breakdown structure? How do you do that? And then how do you break it enough or identify that for April month, you're going to be doing this, May, June, July, and how do you break them further for a weekly plan? So let's go there.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, I don't really like to do goal setting at the top of the calendar year. I like to do them on my birthday. For one, when you celebrate your birthday, it's really true to your life cycle, as opposed to a calendar year. Plus, it's cliche. Everybody does some kind of New Year's resolution that ends up on I wish every. So for me, it just has more meaning when it's your birthday because it's more intimate to you. In the case, for example, like I was telling you about that, I had a particular goals and I said, okay, I'm going to try it for a year and really learn from it in that time frame. What I did was I said, okay, my success criteria by the end of this year or within the year, XYZ, whether it's to establish a marketplace for it, to hit X number of sales, whatever I had to challenge it to be. Then I had to think about what is it that I need to do to get there? What am I lacking? What are the things that are giving me the most doubt? What do I need to learn? And I thought about, I already have the right home. Is it the right thing? Do I know about 3D modeling? I need to brush that off. So I then looked at, okay, where do I want to be in 6 months from now? And then I looked at, what do I want in 3 months? And that was, in my particular case, okay, I wanted maybe to establish an LLC. I want to establish maybe an e-commerce site platform. I want to be able to I need to start ingesting learning materials to figure out how do I get myself to be more efficient in that skill set. So I would do that. And then on a weekly basis, I said, okay, I still have my family. I have my job, but I still have to focus on that as number one priority, day job and my family. And so what time is that leave with? And obviously, it's just going to be a fraction of your time, but you have to commit to yourself. Then we'll set aside an hour a day to do something. So that is what makes the difference. And you can look at it on a macro level, but then ultimately you have to look at it in the micro detail level. What are the small incremental things that you can do to moving? I'm old school. I keep old school notebook as a journal. I know a lot of people out there have more high tech. They use their tablets and their phones, iPhones and devices. There you go. You're old school just like me. There's something that you can't beat by writing something down on a piece of paper. Although I do have my Apple phone to write it there too. It's just there's something that feels a little bit different when you're writing in a tangible piece of paper. Plus the battery doesn't die on you when you actually have the physical notebook. So that's where I would do a lot of the paper. This is my focus for the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I would set an intention of, okay, before I sign in for the day, I want to watch this YouTube video on XYZ. And then I would set an intention of maybe Saturday or Sundays when I would actually, that's my day of creation, where I would take what I learned from the videos, podcasts, social media, and start to actually apply it towards doing that something physical, that creative aspect of my passion project. And that would be my routine every week. Monday morning, learn something. Tuesday morning, learn something else. Pick up another thing. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was actually apply what I learned and then rinse and continue after stuff. Results will vary. It all depends on everybody else's own personal passion project, but the the method and the pattern, the prescriptive steps are always still the same. Start macro, break it down until you can get into manageable chunks that you can achieve every single day.
Would you saying that for your week, you have exact tasks for each week? That's what, I mean, if somebody have not heard this, I want to emphasize that what you're saying is you're not talking about a timetable. You're talking about a timetable and a specific item in those time slots.
Correct. Correct. If somebody is trying to develop their software development proficiency, again, going back to the example, the fictional person is trying to grow themselves from a junior developer to a senior developer, they would look at, okay, make sure I reserve an hour each day to do learning, and maybe another hour each day to do practice and applying. And if that's not feasible, then maybe it's a half hour each day, or maybe it's an hour on Monday, but they dedicate the weekend into applying that practical knowledge. Again, results will very depend on everything else, commitments, family time, and whatnot, and or how they can move that consistency.
Yes, this is great. What you're saying, a year, doing research, breaking those into pieces, and then making a plan. And you talk about some outcome related goal, 6 months and 3 months. And then you talk about some action related goals, that these are the action that you will take, and these are the outcome that you're expecting. And those are like 6 months, 3 months, 1 month. And then you're talking about a weekly schedule, and you're talking about a daily, not daily, but exact action item for the week and the weekend. Wow.
You could break it up daily. Some people, it's like exercise, right? And we want to set aside to not just exercise your physical body, but exercise your physical brain. You're learning what you need to do, get you to take those actual steps to apply it and get you further into your goal.
So Leilani, by this time, you have this plan, you know exactly what you're doing this week. What are different reviews that you do? So when do you create this week plan? Is that part of your weekly review? Is that a part of something else?
Yeah, and I will say, it sounds very much like a Scrum-based approach. And the truth is it works, right? Instead of a Scrum team, it's a team of one. You're looking at yourself as not just the product owner and the Scrum master and developer, you're the whole thing. Yeah, a lot of the same principles apply. I'll set the goal and my intention and this is facts. I'll look at my week ahead on the Sunday. I'll look at my work calendar on the Sunday to see what is expected for the week. And then I'll reflect and say, okay, what do I need to do on the personal level for my personal goals for that week? And what do I want to accomplish? There's this book I want to read, or there's this YouTube series that I want to watch, or this master class I want to watch during this week that'll help me get where I want to go. And I'll make a goal, okay, I want to get through all that by the week. Or maybe I want to talk to somebody and I want to meet this person with a past experience that I want to know from. I want to make a goal to set up time to reach out to this person. By the end of this week. Just these little micro goals, I'll look at establishing it on a Sunday and say, okay, I want to do this by the following Saturday. And then usually I'll look back on a Saturday or Sunday. Weekends are the best days for me because obviously I'm not tied to any means. It's my time, it's being my family. And I'll look back and say, okay, did I put it? And if you didn't, because something popped out with family work and senior work and work as it came up, I don't beat myself over. Give yourself some grace. Just know that. Just stay focused. Say, you know what? It's like a user spread. I have to roll it over to the next spread, and we'll try it there. But usually, I try to reflect on do my intentions for the week on a Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So we start with year, month, week. So now one more level. On a day-to-day basis, your day is crazy. You have so many things for 9 to 5 job, and then you have your own passion project plus family and 10 other things. And I know how your life would be, is where you probably get 2, 3 fires a day uh, normally. So how do you protect your day for these aspirational projects?
Yeah, and that can be challenging because work is a priority. Your 9 to 5 job is work. That is a priority. It's what puts food on the table. It's what takes care of the physical needs of your family. So there are definitely ways to dedicate and make things that sacred time. Like for me, for example, I always try to make sure, and my team knows this, I put no meetings on my calendar from noon. Noon to 1 o'clock, no meetings. I don't put meetings on my team members' calendar, on my colleagues' calendar. And then they put meetings on my calendar during that time. It's usually declined, unless I know it's something that's urgent or critical this year. One, it gives me the mental break that I need to charge. Two, it gives me an opportunity to read and digest and do something fun that's creative, that nourishes my personal goals. That's one thing. The other thing is first thing in the morning. A lot of times, if you can set aside as part of your morning ritual, the opportunity to read, to reflect, to journal, that's another opportunity. Before anybody can hit you up with any guys. First thing in the morning is another great time. The last thing that I'll offer that works for me, and may not work for everybody, depending on their responsibilities and organization, is on a Friday afternoon. I have instituted my team, no meetings on Friday afternoon. It should be time to catch up on weekend administrative, to catch up on any tasks, so that your weekends, there is less impact of your 9 to 5 job on your weekend. So you can focus on your personal goals, your family, and whatever else makes you full. Those are just boundaries that you set for yourself and set for your 9 to 5 to help protect our personal space.
And one last question on this segment. What's your day in a life look like? What's your typical day look like?
I can tell you that right now, because as I'm transitioning roles and may not be the same, if you ask me in a month, it'll probably be a little different. But up until now, a typical day in my life, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I work, get my son out of bed and ready for school. As a 15-year-old, it can be challenging, so they want to stay in bed and sleep. But usually he's out the door by 6:30. And between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, it's usually pretty quiet for me. If I don't have to go in the office, that gives me a chance, maybe about half hour to an hour I always do the 10-minute meditation. It helps to still my mind. It helps me to reflect a little calm and set my intention for the day. Once I do that meditation and just centered and mindful, then if there are certain podcasts or videos or things I want to review that help nourish my personal project, I'll take that time as well. And then usually my day starts rocking and rolling by around 8 o'clock. And then my 9 to 5, by 8 to 5, whatever it feels in full swing. Lunchtime, I may have an opportunity to read something fun, like I mentioned. And then usually I'm pretty much done for the day by around 5:30. Occasionally there may be some lingering meetings or emails I follow up on, but I do try to make it up to be done with the day by 6 o'clock. And put in a workout, exercise is important. That's something else. If I feel stuck, if I've got writer's block, I will go on the treadmill. And usually some movement helps to get me unstuck. It helps to get me to think, okay, because I tend to have ADHD and focus on a lot of little things. Walking helps me to focus on the problem I need to solve. That. Yeah, and then that's my day. I'm usually in bed by 10 o'clock. There's some dinner beforehand, and maybe I'll watch a program or two on TV, but then that's my day.
And then the weekends?
Weekends, I'm usually doing something with my family. We try to get outside. I have most of my family and my husband's his family here in Central Florida, so we are out about with them sometimes as well. But usually either Saturday or Sunday, there's usually a good chunk of the day where I'm at home, and I will make an effort to actually applying things that I learned throughout the week and make some real tangible, that's where I can have some focused hours on my personal project. But yeah, the majority of the weekend is dedicated to the family and being with them because that's important too. But yeah, weekends is a good time too. I try not to focus on looking.
Thank you so much for sharing this. This is your root. You have a solid routine.
It's not easy. I mean, I'll tell you, it was not always so consistent because like you mentioned, there's this desire of wanting to focus on so many things at once.
Mhm.
But the key is to pick one, try it, pull a plan together and go.
Do you use, or should I say, what are the different time management systems or framework that you use, Leilani?
From a time management perspective, I time box things to make sure that I'm not spending too much time on a particular thing. Even social media, I'll time box it to 15 minutes to half an hour. So I'm not overusing certain things. But I don't really have or subscribe to a particular time management philosophy. I just try to work in increments and just kind of.
Thank you so much for sharing all this. We are at 5:42. I did book this until 5:15, but I didn't ask you. Do you have a few more minutes or we good?
Yeah, of course.
I want to show you the system that I'm using right now for my planning.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Okay, so I will share my screen, okay?
Okay.
This is Notion. Again, we'll come to this. These are my digital product that I have created. And one of them is quarterly planning book. I have 3.0. Funny, we have Advent Health App 3.0 and my quarterly planning is also 3.0.
I love it.
But it comes with some instructions. I have recorded a new video for this, which is my video editor is currently editing that. So it comes with some instructions. And what it has is a quarterly planning workbook where there are multiple steps. Step number one, you think about everything that you want to do, everything that is going on in your life. And then you pick one of the focus area, you define some clear goal in that, and then make it very specific, and then write one line that why this goal matters to you and what will happen if you achieve it, what will happen if you don't achieve it. And then, sorry, you were saying something.
No, I love it. This is great. This really helps to put that focus again on that.
Yeah. And then you build the action plan, just like how you were saying, all the steps, and then converting those steps into daily actions. Once you're done with it, you go back to this page where you summarize everything in one view, and then you actually create a time schedule for yourself. You keep jotting down your accomplishment, and then it has some kind of vision board, but then your areas, project that you have identified, and then the task. And then it comes with some of the template to do the weekly review, monthly and yearly review. So all that. So that's a product that I have created, and I'm sharing that as one of the free products. So I'm not charging anyone for this. I plan to make it, I'm writing an ultimate guide that these two will become a bundle. And then I have been using exact same system since October of last year. So this is my third quarter where I'm trying to use it. The whole concept is that you just how we do a quarterly planning, and you have a list of things, you pick up your focus, and then you stick with that focus. So I will show exactly how mine look like. So these are all the different things. I picked that building digital product as my primary focus for Q2. And then I had many ideas. I picked this is ultimate guide for time management system for web developer is one thing that I will focus on. I made it very specific with adding some dates around it and then the outcome around it. And these are the two things that I would need to be able to do this and promote this so they are there. And then you will see that 9 to 5 job is one of my conflict. I do that. Try to identify everything that can hold me back. My gardening, anything that comes here, I try to write exactly why I want to do this, and then build an action plan, and then move it here, which is where you will see that these are accomplishments from Q1. In Q1, my goal was to identify that one thing that I want to offer. I could help a web developer in 10 different ways, but what is that one thing? And I picked that time management is that one thing. That's my bus, where I ask them, hop on into this bus, and then I will take you to one of the outcomes. So again, it takes same approach that you were saying, that by 30, I want to finish it. By 15, I want to sell it. And by by June, I want to earn $1,000 from it. And then it has exact actions, outcome and actions, that what are the different things that I can check mark. Why this goal? And then these are the steps. This is just plain work breakdown structure, the steps. And then this is where the daily actions comes, that on Friday, exactly what I'm doing, Saturday, Monday. So everything is defined. And I just started doing this one, that if I have to pick and I can only do 2 things, these are the 2 things that I will be able to do, not anything else. A must have, nice to have.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's like great minds are thinking alike. This is really truly treating yourself like a product and a project. Coming up with that plan, creating those priorities, breaking it down quarter, even to the day level. Question for you: did you hit your quarterly goals?
Yes. The quarter. So my goal for Q4 last year was to build this quarterly planning workbook, build a product, identify the different thing that I can help with offering. So I picked that the quarterly planning, goal setting, time management, productivity, all that. Oh, and then identify who is that one person that I will be helping. So that was my Q1. Identify what I will be out of 100 things I can help. What will be that one thing? And then who that person will be. So I was able to pick a web developer as that one person. That was the outcome of Q4. And then in Q1, I had to niche down from helping a web developer become a senior or productivity or language learning. I had to niche down to my goal was, Q1 goal was to exactly what that one thing will be. And that one thing is time management. So now I have time management for junior web developer. And I spent 6 months defining that for me. And that resonated with myself as well as the public audience. And then that's the next thing, that I want to create this guide by end of this quarter. Q2, I will be able to decide if I want to build a course around it, if I want to build a cohort around it. And the idea is, what is that one transformation that I can provide to this one person in 4 weeks, 5 weeks type frame. And then just, this is the filled information, but I have this task with this is the weekly review from last week. And this will have all the different things that I accomplish and other thing. And this is my running week. These are exact items that I am doing. I can check mark this now. And then what I try to do, I try to keep track of things. I haven't done this, but this is exactly what my day looked like. And I try to maintain, and every time I try to pick that, what are the top 5 items. So I think I am following what you have as a system, and I use the notebook as well as the system.
Love it. That is this really putting the detail to it. And I think something of this format, this tool will really help to get people to hone in and zero in on what it is they need to focus on, and really helps, I think, to minimize
Yeah.
all the different competing priorities because you're really putting a lot of energy and effort towards that one and building a plan. I think that's great.
Yep. So I've been running this quarterly planning, PI planning for Advent Health app, and everything that I've learned, everything I've tried, I have put all that into this product to just like how you're saying, from product to treating you and your aspiration as the product and building upon it quarter by quarter. All right. Thank you so much, Leilani. Thank you so much for coming again in this podcast. Your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience can help many people, and this podcast will produce that result. So thank you so much for spending your time. Is there any question do you have for me before we disconnect?
No questions. I just want to say thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share my experience with you and anybody who's listening. And I think what you are offering, what you're doing, you're sharing your knowledge, you're getting other people to share their knowledge. I think that's an amazing gift. That's amazing to help the community. So thank you for allowing me to do that. I love the tool and I love the conversation. You're a brilliant person and it's great to have like-minded conversations with you. So happy to do so.
Wish you all the best for your new journey and thank you again.
Thank you. All right. I'll see ya.
Bye.